Welcome to Behind the Curtain, IMO. I'm Betsy Jordan, and I want to talk to you about Ukraine today. I saw a poster. The title was "The Tyrant Zelensky." Said he banned the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. He jailed Ukrainian church leaders. He banned political opposition parties. He jailed political opposition leaders. He banned members of his own party. He jailed members of his own party. He banned media who criticized him. He jailed media members who opposed him. He banned all who did not agree with him. He jailed anyone who opposed him in Ukraine. They then labeled him a dictator.
President Trump called Zelensky a dictator. He said he was doing a terrible job. He said that he needs to take a deal sooner rather than later or he won't have a country anymore.
When he was asked about that, he said, "I don't remember calling him that."
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
Russia attacked a sovereign nation, and that's Ukraine. But before they attacked, they had infiltrated the same way they had done some things that the Mueller report proved that were propaganda within our country to support the 2016 elections. We're very clear that happened. We also know that we haven't done anything about it, but Trump is insistent on being friends with Putin. Now, this is what I posted. I understand that Ukraine was attacked by Russia, that people within the Ukrainian media and government had been charged with treason for continuing to support Russia, who had attacked Ukraine. It's a little bit like saying, okay, we're going to support Osama bin Laden after he attacked us. That was not something that we were going to have happen in the United States. The government of Ukraine is under martial law. It is illegal to hold elections in Ukraine while at war. Part of Russia's attempts at peace were to say that they wanted to hold an election in Ukraine. Well, that's so Putin can put his people in leadership positions in Ukraine. Now, I know the United States has done that before. I know that we have done this, but Ukraine is the doorway, the gateway to the rest of Europe. We have to support them because we don't want Russia's imperialistic ways to continue. Putin kills anyone who doesn't agree with him. Navalny is a case in point. It is illegal to hold elections in Ukraine while at war. That was true before Zelensky, all right? The church they speak of was tied to Russian Orthodoxy. They were given a period of time to cut ties with Russia or be banned. So they had a choice. Trump basically is asking Ukraine, who is winning the war right now, to surrender not just their land, but their sovereignty and mineral rights to us in repayment for what is a 3 times inflated number, which is what he gave us. And then he said Europe had not given as much, but that's not the truth.
Just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total efforts, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money.
The assumptions that have led President Trump to call Zelensky a dictator are false, and that is Russian propaganda. Trump is parroting Russian propaganda. So we've got a president who says, I'm the best deal maker ever, right? But deals are not diplomacy. And when he goes to the opposition or people who are our known enemies and sits down with them first, without the presence of the opposite party in the room, that's not diplomacy, that's deal making, and it's basically undercutting the Ukrainians who were winning. Well, that's the same kind of deal making he did in Afghanistan. He cut a deal with the Taliban without the Afghani presence. And then what happened is they developed a treaty. He then released a bunch of Talibani prisoners, and the treaty was untenable for the Afghani people at that point, and the Taliban took over. But you need to understand that Trump is going against history, long years of alliances, and it's a very dangerous place to put the United States in. This isolation idea of his is not a good one. So when people tell you that the Ukrainians poked the bear, basically, what it was Russian influence inside the Ukraine that was pushing them toward martial law toward severing ties with Russia as much as they could. I mean, they are their neighbors, by the way. And Zelensky's doing the best he can, honestly, against a lot of odds. So we want the gateway to Europe to be held. And right now, pushing for peace is really a push for Russia, because Russia is weakened and we could get them to back down. That's what we need to be doing. But again, every ceasefire that has ever been negotiated in that area in recent times, Russia has broken that agreement. You cannot trust Putin, period. Which is why the Ukrainians are still at war. But I think it's got to be that the Ukrainians need to be the victor in that case. This has been Behind the Curtain. I am Mo. Thank you for being here.